specifically, why does it make this state more competitive? Is it because, as many opponents of this legislation fear, it could mean lower wages? That makes a state more competitive.
Yeah, and I don't think that's the indication at all. I think you can cite studies on both sides of that issue. There are studies done, various people say it causes lower wages. There are people that can say you can actually have higher net wages in terms of taking cost of living into account. So that's a mixed message. I come back to the basics. Let's step back and say, isn't worker choice important? To give freedom to choose to individual workers. That's the starting point. And then the second piece along with that is added to it, that actually makes it a stronger piece, is this economic development argument, because we need more and better jobs in Michigan.
Do you think if you get this legislation through, it's going to mean more jobs here in Michigan?
I do. And Michigan needs that. If you look from the years 2001 through 2010, Michigan lost over 750,000 jobs. We lost more jobs than anyone. Since 2011, when I took office, we've added 140,000 jobs. We're forecasted to add 111,000 jobs over the next couple years. And one of my goals as governor is, how do you change that curve? How do you say that 111 can be somewhat a much higher number? We've been successful the last 2 years in terms of moving that curve from the earlier forecast when I came to office. I want to keep that attitude up. It's about more and better jobs and a future for our kids.
A labor representative told me this legislation is anti-worker, saying that it gives workers less of a voice. What do you say to that?
That's backward. This is about being pro-worker. Again, giving workers the choice, the freedom to choose, that's fundamental. And I think it's a good thing.
But it could also give the unions less power, and it could mean lower wages, couldn't it?
Well, if you step back and look at it, what caused unions to be successful? It was because there were real issues in the workplace. Back in the last century, in the 20s, the 30s, the 40s, people flocked to join the unions because it was the right thing to do. And that's what made them successful. Now, shouldn't we have that same environment today where people want to join a union and can make that decision rather than saying to keep your job, you have to join a union? And shouldn't unions be open to saying they're creating a value proposition to say it's worthwhile for you to join as a worker? Be excited about being a union member. I think that's a good thing, isn't it?
What do you say to your opponents who say you are trying to chip away at unions in the state of Michigan?
No, I don't say that at all. Again, I come back to the basic premise is I'm starting with the worker. I'm pro-worker. And again, this is an important right that I think workers should have.